And the war in Gaza is also threatening a full-blown conflict on Israel's northern front with Lebanon. Israel says it is preparing for a larger military operation to silence the attacks by Hamas's ally, Hezbollah.
The Lebanese militant group says it will keep up its pressure but will stop cross-border fire once there's a ceasefire in Gaza. But with that deal still elusive, Israel's first responders on the Lebanese border are stepping up preparations. Sarah Coates reports.
Where's that? Yeah, he's on his
Deep underground in a blast-proof bunker, medical teams are preparing for the worst. The Galilee emergency facility's been operating in war mode since October, and physicians say they're ready for a mass casualty scenario.
We've made plans, let's call it that way, and we could reach almost 60 critical care beds if we get to a surge. There's also other hospitals that in that case, we will get personnel from other hospitals that are further down that would come to give us help.
Above ground, other measures are in place.
We're getting to the bomb-proof area, so you can already see, so these are all these is reinforced concrete.
Wow.
And these are blast doors. So you have a double closure mechanism here and here, so that in case there's an alarm, we just go inside and close these two doors.
There's also protection outside the facility.
The large concrete wall just behind me was built by the Israeli military only a few months ago. It's to protect the hospital's helicopter pads in the event of any rocket or sniper fire from Lebanon, 10 kilometres from where I'm standing.
A war plan for the political and militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon has now been approved by the Israeli military. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah is threatening to raise Israel in the event of a full-scale conflict. He says there would be no restraint and no rules and no ceilings in the event of a major Israeli attack. But another Hezbollah commander has said the group would stop fighting without any discussion if a full ceasefire is reached in Gaza, its long-held position. IDF troops and tanks are being moved to the northern border, awaiting orders to cross the UN-designated blue line into Lebanon, even as Israel now says it prefers a diplomatic solution. It's been 18 years since Israel and Hezbollah fought a vicious 34-day war, something neither side is likely eager to repeat. Yet, if Israel were to move ahead, there are questions over its capacity for such a major military undertaking, especially as its Iran-backed opponent is much more heavily armed than Hamas. There are also fears about the role Iran would play with the armed groups it supports in the region. It has warned that all resistance fronts would confront Israel if it launches an offensive against Hezbollah in Lebanon. While some Western officials have downplayed how formidable a paramilitary force Hezbollah has become, that's not the feeling here on the ground.
Rockets and missiles of Hezbollah can reach almost everywhere in Israel. Of course, we have Iron Dome, but the amounts are huge. And we understand that Iron Dome will not be enough.
Hezbollah also claims to have more than 100,000 soldiers, battle-hardened from fighting in the Syrian civil war. The threat remains real. Since the Gaza war began, Israel and Hezbollah have been engaged in increasingly hostile tit-for-tat cross-border fire. With thousands of rockets and drones shot into Israeli territory, Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon, and the deaths of senior Hezbollah commanders. Tens of thousands of residents on both sides of this border have been under evacuation orders for months. But in Israel, some soldiers from towns that dot the northern ridge have stayed put, guarding the border line as part of an emergency squad. IDF officials have asked us not to use their full names as a precaution.
This is a very strategic place for both of the conflict sides. Both Israel and Hezbollah want this place. This is actually the last frontier.
If there will be a war with Lebanon, with the Hezbollah, actually not with Lebanon themselves, the war will be probably on the Lebanon side. but right now it's that's the front line.
We can't show you this kibbutz as it's censored by the Israeli military for operational reasons. But while filming here, we were forced underground to a bunker as missiles flew overhead. While Hezbollah and Iran continue to level threats against Israel of an obliterating war if the group in Lebanon is attacked, foreign mediators are desperately seeking a diplomatic solution to try and stop this crisis from escalating into a full-scale regional war.
We think a diplomatic resolution is possible, and so we're going to continue to pursue that because it's in the interests of all the parties involved, and most importantly, in the interests of the tens of thousands of Israeli and Lebanese families who have been displaced from their homes and want to be able to return home.
A growing number of countries have called on their citizens to leave Lebanon while commercial flights are still available, amid fears that any kind of miscalculation from either side could ignite this tinderbox region. Sarah Coates, CNA, Northern Israel.